The day began with the familiar scent of damp earth and old stone, the kind of morning that clings to your skin and lingers in your memory. The world felt hushed, as if holding its breath for what was to come. Blackwood Manor, once a grand Victorian estate, was now a skeleton of its former self. Its walls, once alive with laughter and music, now stood silent, draped in ivy and shadow, a monument to forgotten stories. The demolition crew had stopped work after unearthing something unexpected, a lead box sealed tight deep in the foundations. A time capsule, untouched for more than a century, its secrets waiting patiently in the dark. We were called in, myself, Dr. Aris Thorne, historian, and Eleanor Vance, expert in antiquities. Our task to unlock the past, to interpret what had been left behind. The manor was a place of whispers and legends, haunted by tales of Lord Blackwood, an eccentric inventor whose experiments were the talk of the town and the subject of many fireside stories. The box was inscribed, "Bury me deep." The word seemed almost like a warning, etched with a trembling hand. "Open not before the future comes." The message was cryptic, as if meant for eyes far beyond its own era. 1. Why this spot? Why such finality? What did Lord Blackwood fear or hope would be found? Nothing about Lord Blackwood was ever ordinary. His mind was a labyrinth, and his legacy a puzzle waiting to be solved. Our workspace was the old library wing, spared for its historical significance, a small island of the past in a sea of rubble and decay, where time itself seemed to pause. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of leather-bound books and polished mahogany, dust motes swirling in golden shafts of light. It was here, amidst the silent tomes and the weight of history, that we prepared to pry open the secrets of 1891, our hands trembling with anticipation. We were not just opening a box, we were disturbing a long silent sleep, awakening echoes that had lain dormant for generations, and a part of me felt we were not entirely welcome, as if the manor itself was watching, waiting to see what we would uncover. Eleanor took the lead, her footsteps echoing softly on the polished floor as she approached the mysterious box with a mixture of caution and curiosity. With steady hands, she began carefully prying at the soldered edges of the lead box, the metal resisting her efforts as if guarding its secrets. The silence was broken only by the soft scrape of metal and the distant sigh of wind, a hush that seemed to hold its breath with the rest of us. As the lid came loose, the air shifted, colder, heavier. A faint draught stirred the dust, carrying with it a sense of anticipation and unease. A faint electronic hum emanated from within, utterly out of place in a 19th century relic, its glow casting strange shadows on the walls. Dr. Thorne sniffed the air. "Ozone," he murmured, his brow furrowing as he tried to make sense of the impossible scent. Eleanor lifted the lid, revealing objects nestled in faded silk, their shapes unfamiliar and their surfaces gleaming with a cold, unnatural light. They were not relics of the past, but artifacts from a future we did not know, their presence here a riddle that defied explanation. Sleek, dark, and alien in this setting of wood and leather, the devices seemed to pulse with a life of their own. The juxtaposition was jarring, a clash of centuries in a single box, as if time itself had been folded and sealed inside. The steampunk library felt primitive beside the impossible technology before us, its brass and gears suddenly obsolete. The world outside faded away, leaving just us and the paradoxical contents, suspended in a moment that felt both ancient and impossibly new. A time capsule from 1891 should not contain these things, yet there they were, undeniable and real, rewriting the rules of what we thought possible. The paradox gleamed under the dim light, challenging everything we knew about history, daring us to question the very fabric of time. The mystery of Lord Blackwood had just deepened, and with it the sense that our journey had only just begun. We began to remove the items one by one. First, a small, smooth cube, cool, impossibly light, flaring to life with a pulsing blue light. No buttons, no seams, just a glowing enigma. Next, a thin, rectangular slate, like a futuristic tablet, seamless and inert, yet impossibly advanced. We placed it beside the cube, two pieces of an impossible puzzle. Finally, a watch, minimalist, elegant, with a face that ticked backwards. The movement was deliberate, designed to run in reverse. We stared at the collection, the glowing cube, the dormant tablet, the backward watch. These objects did not belong here. They were a violation of the natural order, a temporal paradox made manifest. The capsule was not a message from the past to the future. It felt like a message sent in the wrong direction, a package from tomorrow, lost in yesterday. The air in the library grew tense, as if the room itself sensed the disruption. We were no longer just historians, we were witnesses to an impossible event. It started subtly, a sharp scratch from the corner of the room. We froze, but saw only a bookshelf. Dr. Thorne dismissed it as the building settling, but the sound was too deliberate. It came again from another corner, a signal, not a creak. Then the grandfather clock's rhythm faltered, speeding up, slowing down, its chime a metallic groan. The backward watch seemed to infect the very mechanics of time. The lights flickered, plunging the room into shadow, then blinding white. During these flickers we heard faint whispers, distorted voices, impossible to decipher. Eleanor gasped, claiming the inert tablet spoke. "Listen!" The library no longer felt like a sanctuary. The scratching, the erratic clock, the voices, it was a coordinated assault on our senses. The room felt like a cage, and something was rattling the bars. We were being watched or warned. The atmosphere was thick with anticipation and dread. Excitement had turned to dread. Dr. Thorne clung to logic, rodents, faulty wiring, auditory pareidolia, but his eyes betrayed uncertainty, always drifting to the backward watch. Eleanor insisted the events were connected, the objects warping reality. She held the glowing key. "This isn't just a light," she said. "It's doing something to this room." My mind battled between logic and the impossible. The facts. The capsule was from 1891, the contents from the future. The phenomena began after opening it. The logical conclusion defied physics. We decided to record everything: audio, clock fluctuations, attempts to interface with the tablet. We were experts, but this was beyond expertise. The library, once a symbol of knowledge, now felt like a laboratory for an experiment we couldn't comprehend. We were the subjects, not the observers. The rules of reality were bending, and we were caught in the middle. Every new event tightened the knot of the mystery. The line between science and ghost story had vanished. Temporal distortion grew stronger. Time stretched and contracted. Conversations became disjointed. The backward watch anchored the chaos. Dr. Thorne stared at a photograph of Lord Blackwood, swearing the man blinked, his expression changing. He became obsessed, convinced he was witnessing the past replaying itself. The audio recorder captured our voices, layered with whispers and statements we never made. "He shouldn't have opened it. It's a warning." The air flickered between the scent of old books and sterile ozone. The room seemed to shift between 1891 and an unknown future. We were caught between two temporal tides. The mystery was now a threat to our sanity. We were part of the phenomenon. The climax centered around the mirrors. Our reflections lagged behind us, then escalated. Eleanor saw it first, a fourth figure in the mirror, hazy and humanoid. We turned, nothing was there. But in the mirror, the figure remained. Other mirrors showed anomalies, shelves of glowing cubes, a decayed library, alternate timelines converging. The most terrifying reflection, the ghostly figure dressed in a blend of Victorian and futuristic clothes, raised a hand in warning. Then all reflections snapped back to normal. Only the three of us remained, pale and shaken. The silence was more terrifying than any sound. The mirrors had shown us possibilities. Warnings from other timelines. The artifacts were more than relics, they were catalysts. The room felt charged with potential, as if reality itself was thin. We realized we were not alone in our own time. The library was a crossroads. The mirror incident broke us. Dr. Thorne, frantic, insisted the watch was controlling time. Pulling us back, he lunged for the watch, intent on destroying it. The moment he touched it, chaos erupted, lights exploded, the blue cube pulsed blindingly, a deafening roar filled the air, wind howled, papers and books swirled in a vortex. I clung to a bookshelf, Eleanor crouched on the floor. Through the chaos, Thorne stood in the blue light, fading, shimmering like the figure in the mirror. He looked at me, mouth open, but no sound came. Then he was gone. The sound stopped, the wind died, the blue cube calmed, emergency lights flickered on. The room was a mess, but otherwise unchanged. Except for one thing, Dr. Aris Thorne was gone. He had vanished without a trace. The silence was profound, the absence of our colleague, a gaping wound. We were left alone, the warning unheeded. In the aftermath, Eleanor and I approached the table, our footsteps echoing in the heavy silence that had settled over the room. The grandfather clock was still, its pendulum frozen mid-swing, and the whispers that had haunted the air were gone, replaced by a tense, expectant hush. The time capsule lay open before us, but now a fourth object rested inside, a small, leather-bound journal that hadn't been there moments before. It looked as though it had always belonged among the relics, but we knew with certainty it was new, impossibly so. I opened it with trembling hands. The handwriting was unmistakably Lord Blackwood's, but the date inscribed at the top was today's. The entry described opening a box, discovering artifacts from the future, and witnessing a trusted colleague vanish before his eyes. The final plea was desperate. I've become trapped in their past. I'm lost in time. The watch sent me back, the words read, as if the device itself had a will, a purpose beyond our understanding. This is not a time capsule. It is a trap, or perhaps a warning. It is a loop, a cycle that repeats itself, ensnaring those who dare to open it. Do not touch the watch, the journal warned, as if the ink itself trembled with fear. You must send this back. You must warn them, or risk becoming part of the cycle yourself. I looked up. Eleanor saw it too, the realization dawning in her eyes, a mix of fear and resolve. On the table, next to the cube and tablet, was the backward-ticking watch, now older with Thorn's leather strap. He hadn't been erased from history. He had been sent back, cast into the past to become the very ghost we had been chasing. He was the ghost in the machine, the man who would bury the capsule, Lord Blackwood himself. The loop was closed, but the story was not over. We were now the ones left to send the warning, to break the cycle if we could. The past and future had converged in this room, and the message was clear, echoing through time. Some secrets are meant to stay buried, locked away where they can do no harm. The library was silent, but the echoes of Blackwood Manor would never fade, lingering in the dust and shadows. We had become part of the legend, our actions now woven into the fabric of its mystery, and the warning was ours to deliver, a burden and a responsibility that would haunt us long after we left Blackwood Manor.